Okay, guys, welcome back to the D&D Forgotten Realms Heroes of Faerun, as we are continuing to look at the factions of the realms. We have done the Cult of the Dragon, the Emerald Enclave, the Harpers, and the Lord's Alliance. Those are the previous videos I've posted. Today, we're going to look at the Order of the Gauntlet. Now, according to the basic summary here, it says, Zealous warriors of the Order of the Gauntlet smite evil forces in all its forms. So it seems to kind of lend more towards maybe paladins or clerics. But regardless, we'll see. Like every faction has some form and or of like classes which work best with them, so to speak. But let's get into the details. So, Order of the Gauntlet. Ooh, that is a very cool sigil. I like that a lot. That's very cool. Okay. So, the Order of the Gauntlet is a body of faithful justice seekers who seek out and eradicate evil. Members of the Order must be honorable in their actions, vigilant in their outlook, and zealous in their convictions. Moreover, they must always watch out for corruption from within. Oh, okay. Most of the Order's knights are heavily armored, many wielding shining blades, many wield shining blades or maces, and all wear their holy symbols proudly into battle. Like I said, clerics and paladins best suited for that. They embody virtue for its own sake and model ideals of bravery and piousness for the common people they protect. A worthy knight of the Order risks anything to save a fellow knight or complete an important mission. But knights also acknowledge that zealotry can lead to fanaticism, and they caution each other to be wary of straying from the path of good. Sorry, my dyslexia kicked in for a second. But no, that's cool. See, the fact that what ends up happening with most religious orders is that they don't understand the weight of their zealotry. So it's kind of cool that the Order of the Gauntlet understands that zealotry can lead to fanaticism, which essentially is an evil thing to happen, where you go too far on one end of the spectrum and you start doing quote-unquote good for the wrong reasons. So it's cool that they have that. A knight follows the Order's creed, the code of scales and weights. They're devoted to a patron deity, typically a good god such as Helm, Tyr, or Torm. Finally, a knight of the Order defends their companions. To the Order, faith is the greatest weapon against evil, faith in oneself, one's god, and one's friends. Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, goals and activities. The Order of the Gauntlet is armed and vigilant against evil. Its knights use every resource available, including armed reconnaissance, magical scrying, and divine consultation with higher powers. Okay. To ensure they can act swiftly against the forces of evil, knights maintain fortified strongholds along the borderlands, keep well-stocked armories, and practice daily to maintain in peak fighting condition. Okay? The Honor of the Gauntlet strives not only to expand the boundaries of just society, but to maintain justice in lands where it has already taken root. Wait, what? Expand the boundaries of just society, but to maintain justice in lands where it has already taken root. That's a weird sentence, but okay. Knights of the Order strengthen their presence by establishing chapters, fortresses, and strongholds from which knights venture on missions. In keeping with their mandate for swift, tough action, knights of the Order are neither subtle nor discreet. In fact, many knights view any amount of deceit or trickery as cowardice, unbefitting of the member of the Order of the Gauntlet. There is no shame in doing what is right. There's a popular axiom used to encourage knights to serve the Order openly. It almost feels like a jab against the Harpers, a little bit. But yeah, fair enough. The Order emphasizes retribution rather than proactive measures. Its knights don't try to predict evil or preempt it, believing the practice of trying to preempt villainy, even if well-meaning, is the first step on a road towards tyranny. Ooh. There is merit to this, but there's also like things like scrying, divination, all this kind of stuff can help you out. So it seems a bit, what I'm looking for, close-minded to put this off, especially when you can commune with gods, and gods are omniscient beings. You can technically, by using commune, you can learn about potential things that are going to happen in the future. So this just seems a little close-minded. As one in the Code of Scales and Weights puts it, Knights of the Order should strive to punish evil actions, but not evil thoughts. Ooh. Okay. So I'm a little parched. Okay, so this is kind of like that thing with Minority Report. Like thinking about doing something versus putting it into action are two different things, right? Like, yes, a lot of us have evil thoughts all the time. Those of you who don't, you're lying to yourself. But of course, the difference also is we don't act on those evil thoughts. So for them, it's like we can't persecute you for having those thoughts. But if you do wrong, we will beat you to death. I'm okay with that. The order insists on personal freedom, believing that every individual, regardless of their past or associates, can act morally and honorably if given the chance. Okay, cool. So they do give you an opportunity to do good. But if you choose to go evil, then of course they will smite you. Makes perfect sense. Cool. I'm okay with this. Code of scale and weights. This is their creed. To enact judgment quickly and with certainty, the Order of the Gauntlet relies on a lengthy list of crimes and punishments called the Code of Scales and Weights. The code defines crimes against the Order as scales, as well as the appropriate punishments, which are the weights. Okay? A written version of the code is available at every chapter of the Order of the Gauntlet. However, every knight knows evildoers won't wait patiently for a law enforcer to consult their notes. Thus, to be initiated to the Order, every aspiring knight must commit the code to heart and recite it before an audience of their other knights. Wait, that's it? Now, see, here, when I understand that there could be, like, some of the stuff is kind of obvious, so to speak, but at the same time, it would have been nice to have seen the code, like, written out for us to look at, as opposed to just the DM and the player coming up with what their version of the code and code of scales and weights is. It would have been nice to have that information so we can at least, then we can iterate off that list and go further. But at the same time, it's giving you a bunch of freedom to create your own set of code of scales and weights. But still, I would have preferred if they gave us something a little bit more concrete. Role in war. In times of war, the Order's troops are among the toughest, most steadfast soldiers on the Sword Coast. City-states and small nations call on the Order to aid their campaigns against injustice. However, the Order lends its sword only in conflicts of good versus evil. The Order is reluctant to choose sides in a morally ambiguous feuds or petty territorial disputes. This is kind of cool, but also potentially double-edged sword, right? But yeah, I mean, like I say, unless evil is being perpetrated, like outright evil, they will not get involved. In addition to serving as infantry in their own units, veterans of the Order act as sergeants or commanders of other units. Soldiers have few qualms taking orders from a knight of the Order of the Gauntlet. Many know the leadership and tactical expertise of the Order mean the difference between a disorganized defeat and a glorious victory. At least they're respected, if nothing else. All right, leadership and organization. First of all, this is cool. Isn't that like the hand of Torm, or is it Tyr? The hand of Tyr. I can't remember. I think this is a Tyr symbol. But yeah, pretty cool, all in all. So, the Order of the Gauntlets is a new organization eager for action. It doesn't take orders from any government or temple, although opinions of holy figures are greatly esteemed within the Order. Okay, so they're like not a splinter faction, they're like an independent contractor, so to speak, I suppose. All right, so the hierarchy. Knights who commit acts of great valor gain rank in the Order. Knight of the Guard, which is the lowest rank. Knight of the Banner, second rank. Knight of Justice, the third rank, or the Chapter Knight, which is the highest rank. It's possible, though rare, for a knight to skip one or more ranks when ascending the Order's hierarchy. Members of the Order must respect and follow their superiors. Failure to do so is punished by expulsion from the Order. This strictness cuts both ways. A high-ranking knight discovered abusing their station is tried by the Order's private judicial system, the Court of Justice, and punished severely. Like, this could be a very interesting, what's I'm looking for? Adventure hook. Could be very, very cool. Trials and justice. The Order of the Gauntlet judges evildoers summarily and punishes them promptly. To determine punishments, knight refers to the Code of Scales and Weights, or if in doubt, use a spell such as Commune to ask a divinity, especially Tyr or Torm. What would you say, a deity, not a divinity? Okay, for guidance. Only in the most morally grave situations will knights arrest an offender. Arrested suspects are taken to the nearest chapter and undergo a court of justice. Speaking of which, a court of justice includes interrogators, cross-examinations, and follow-up investigations. So, interrogations, sorry. Knights of justice use magic such as Zone of Truth to determine the facts and identify wrongdoing. Suspects not convicted within a 10-day are released. Knights of Justice monitor other knights and the Order's larger activities, keeping an eye out for corruption and fanaticism. So this is the like the Inquisitors, so to speak. They're the ones who keep shit together. And yeah, I have had Zone of Truth use on me in several campaigns, and it's quite a powerful tool to use. So, would highly recommend. All right, chapters, leaders, and fates. So, the Order of the Gauntlet bases are called chapters. The Western Heartland is home to the highest concentration of the Order chapters, but Knights establish new chapters as the Order's influence grows. Each chapter is run by a chapter knight, overseen in turn by a Judiciary Sublime. That is a very strange name, okay? The current Judiciary Sublime is a seasoned human paladin named Ardria Reiklave. That's a very gender non-specific name, okay? Who oversees the construction of the Order's new headquarters, Castle Inventrius in Elturel. So is Elturel back on the material plane? So these guys were set up after. That's the thing. I don't know how Descendant of Avernus ends. I don't know if you return Elturel back to the material plane. But yeah, so it's Castle Invetrius. Invetrius, I guess? That's how you say that? The Order of the Gauntlet's governing body is a tribunal called a Righteous Hand. This tribunal consists of the Judiciary Sublime, who is sometimes referred to as the Gauntlet's Thumb, which is a terrible name, by the way, and 4 veteran chapter knights called High Champions, the Gauntlet's Fingers. Okay. Historically, the 4 High Champions have been selected from upper echelons of the Order's 4 most prominent faiths, the Churches of Helm, horrible name, Torm, and Tyr, whose followers founded the Order of the Gauntlet. Okay, so you have to represent the four gods, and then you have the Judiciary Sublime, which I still think is a really dumb name, and they're called the Thumb. I guess under the Gauntlet's thumb, I guess, but I don't know. It just feels weird. Nah. Okay, Renown rewards. Now, much akin to the previous factions, you have renowns that you can use. So DMs, if you want to use this, feel free to do so. And of course, players, talk to DMs and see what you can do with this. Maybe you want to change something up, but let's go through them before I decide if I want to change anything. So if you have 3+, you can save freely at any Order of the Gauntlet, which provides you with a modest lifestyle. Nice. 5+, you earn the honorary title of Knight of the Guard, which is the lowest rank. Patrons and priests of any temple or shrine of Helm, Tor, Hor, Torm. That's a hell of a typo to lose M or Tyr. Are friendly to you by default. Okay? You get 10. The first time your renown score reaches 10, the Order gives you with 1 randomly uncommon magic item from an armor, ring, or weapon category. That is cool. I like this. 15+, you earn the honorary title of Knight of the Banner, 2nd rank. Spellcasters at any temple or shrine at which priests are friendly to you by default and will... Jesus, where is the punctuation in this goddamn sentence? Spellcasters at any temple or shrine at which priests are friendly to you by default and will cast spells of level 2 or lower for you for free. Okay, so basically, if you go to any of these temples where they're friendly to you, any of their spellcasters will cast a level spell of 2 or lower for free. So whatever you want, they'll cast it for free for you, which is cool. Doesn't say the amount of times you can do it, but there you go. 25+, when you visit a temple at which priests are friendly to you by default, there is the comma. You can enlist 1d4 knights to aid you for 10 days. Okay, what do knights have? The Knickets. So a Knicket, those of you who don't know what that is, that's from Monty Python. 18 AC, okay. 52 hit points, yeah, not bad. Level CR3, +3 to strength, good wisdom save, good con, good charisma, not bad. I mean, average intelligence, average dexterity. Okay. They're immune to the fighting condition, which is cool. Great sword, heavy crossbow, plate armor, okay. They make 2 attacks. It is a +5 to hit for the 2d6 +3, plus 1d8 radiant damage. Oh, that's pretty cool. Same thing with the heavy crossbow, and they can parry as well. 1d4 knights, so cool. I can recruit 4 knights to help me with something. That could be good. Although knights, like again, this is great stuff and early levels, or you can just use them as like fodder, I suppose, in a combat situation. It's not the best, but you got it. 30 plus. You earn the honorary title of Knight of Justice. Patrons and priests of any temple, shrine, or other established presence of a deity associated with good aligned plane or existence are friendly to you by default. So any good aligned deity, their priests are friendly to you. They could have just made that simpler. I don't know why they didn't make it so, especially with no friggin' fucking, what do you call it, punctuation. 40. The first time your Renown score reaches 40, the order gives you with one random rare magic item from armor, ring, or weapon category. Okay, that's cool. And last but not least, 50 plus. You earn the honorary title of Chapter Knight. If you or one of your allies dies and the body is brought to a temple at which priests are friendly to you by default, agents of the order can cast the resurrection spell. Ooh, talking to the deceased, this reward is free the first time you use it. On subsequent occasions, you must provide any material components normally consumed by the spell. That's pretty cool, actually, because resurrection, let's see. Hopefully I spelled this right. Resurrection, there we go. Is a level, 7th level spell, takes an hour to cast, touch spell, diamond worth 1,000 gold pieces. That's not too bad, actually. So, the revived creature has been dead for no more than a century, didn't die of old age, or wasn't undead when it died. Creature returns to life with all its hit points. This spell also neutralizes any poisons, effective, and restores any and all missing body parts. Oh, that's cool. Right, so you can just bring back somebody to life for free once. Then you keep providing. The thing is that you could just hoard a bunch of 1,000 gold piece worth diamonds for a while and just go like, bring them back to life, they died. So that's cool. So yeah, I like it. This friendly stuff I wish I was a little better. I'm not gonna lie. I wish there were something a little more tangible. But the uncommon and rare magic item, that's very cool. But I would have maybe changed that up a little bit more. So if you want to make a Order of the Gauntlet character, here's what we do. So the Order of the Gauntlet appeals primarily to good clerics and paladins. However, anyone who worships a righteous god and has a stake in the fight against evil is welcome to petition for knighthood. Fighters and monks often exhibit discipline expected of Order Knights, bards who memorize the code of skills and weights with ease, and rangers whose practical survival skills take them into lawless wilds also find their way to the Order of the Gauntlet. The Knights of the Order of the Gauntlet often have training in religious customs, law enforcement, or tactical warfare. Characters with the Acolyte, Guard, and Soldier backgrounds fit in well. Okay, cool. Again, helping you make a character if you wish to be part of the Order. So as a member, you get these benefits. You get a trinket. So you roll on the Gauntlet trinkets table to determine what trinket you have for time within the Order. So a white feather that is heavy as lead. So all of these things can actually be really good, like not good, but potential adventure hooks for you. Your call to action, so to speak, to find out what these things are. So a white feather as heavy as lead, an empty vial made from stained glass, a single cone of gold-flecked incense, a silken blindfold, 1/2 pair of manacles, and a tarnished aspergillum. Okay. Again, the DM can actually use this and can create some really cool stuff for you as a player if you wish to be a Gauntlet member. Of course, vestments. You receive a holy symbol and a tabard emblazoned with the symbol of the Order of the Gauntlet. Cool. Higher callings. Okay. When Knights of the Order of the Gauntlet speak of a higher calling, they're referring to a particular way in which Knights pursues and enforces the Order of the Gauntlet's creed. Higher callings come to Knights from divine epiphanies, messages from higher powers, or omens witnessed during or after important events. A knight's higher calling is summarized in a proverb called the Knight's Dictum. For example, a knight who strives to dismantle systems of oppression might espouse this dictum: disarm those who unjustly disarm others. Okay? Knights frequently decorate their weapons or armor with their dictums. Even though a knight's higher calling is usually personal, many knights share their higher callings. That's such a weird sentence. Knights with the shared higher calling often congregate at particular chapters of the Order. Include the following: stay at cult leaders and crime lords and other evil masterminds. Aid celestials in the war against the fiends. Locate people in need and help them find their way. Pursue positions of authority to identify powerful evildoers. Construct and maintain a stronghold for the Order of the Gauntlet. Perfect virtues that should be undertaken by all. again, this is also a potential adventure hook. Like you were witness to something, and that is now your Harkon. That is now your call to action. So pretty cool. I mean, again, it's giving you more stuff to work with, which is nice. And last but not least, the special facility which every faction gets. So, members of the Order of the Gauntlet can add the following special facility to their bastions. The Order of the Gauntlet Tournament Field. It is a level 9 bastion facility. You need to be a member of the Order of the Gauntlet. It's got a vast space, a single hireling, and it has the Order Empowered. Order of the Gauntlet Tournament Fields is a marked-off area for combat between two armed individuals. It includes room for spectators. Your hireling is a knight whose alignment matches your own. If your bastion lacks facilities to house this knight, the knight secures accommodations in the inn or settlement closest to the bastion. This knight isn't a bastion defender, but if your bastion is attacked, the knight reduces by 1 the number of dice to roll how many bastion defenders are lost in the attack. Empower. Hold tournament. Okay. When you issue the Empower order to this facility, you host a tournament at your bastion. It takes 7 days for the word of the tournament to spread to nearby settlements, another 7 days for the contestants to travel to your bastion and participate in this tournament. You must spend 2,000 gold pieces for prizes. At the conclusion of the tournament, your renown score with the Order of the Gauntlet increases by 1. Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, not bad. Like this, personally, I don't think this is great. But again, if you're a part of the order, your DM will be running a chapter night. Yeah, chapter night. And they can host this. And this is where you prove your mettle. Like this could be where your journey starts as a player character who's a member of the Order of the Gauntlet, be it whatever class that you choose to be. So that's pretty cool. These higher callings feel very much like a Grey Knight from Warhammer 40k. But that's pretty cool. Again, all in all, I'm quite I like this the most so far. I mean, to be fair, the Call of the Dragon was pretty cool. Emerald Enclave was meh. Harper's was a lot less informative than I thought it would be. Lord's Alliance is just a bunch of backstabbing fuckers. They're not the greatest. This is kind of cool because they're their own forces. Of course, I mean, within the Lord's Alliance, there's several people who you can, ally with, and they're good folk. But everyone's looking for number 1. These guys are ubiquitous all over the place. Their justice and smiting of evil is just unparalleled. So this is a cool thing to have. Want to play a cleric or you want to play a paladin? This would probably be your best bet, honestly. But yeah, that is the Order of the Gauntlet in its entirety. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Of course, if you have thoughts and comments about this, leave that all down below. If you like what you see, hit that like button. And if you want to see more stuff just like this, because we got more to go, hit that subscribe button. And thank you all so much for watching. And catch you guys all in the next one. So from all of us here to you guys, till then, peace out.